Welcome back, everyone, to another deep dive. Today, we're cracking open a really interesting historical text.
We are. It's William Boericke's Homeopathic Materia Medica.
Right, which is basically, for anyone new to this, it's like a big catalog from the early 20th century listing homeopathic remedies and, what they thought they did.
Exactly. A snapshot of practice at the time.
And we're zooming in on one remedy today, Aurum Muriaticum Natronatrum, or sodium chlorate is the more common name, I think.
That's the one, sodium chlorate.
So our mission really is to unpack the, frankly, kind of surprising range of effects they attributed to this one single substance and what that might tell us about, how they thought about medicine in the body back then.
And it gets interesting right away. Boericke, and he leans heavily on Burnet's work here, highlights its very strong connection to the female organs.
Strong connection.
Extremely strong. Boericke actually quotes Burnet saying it had, and this is direct, more power over uterine tumors than any other remedy.
Wow. Okay, more power than any other remedy. That's a huge claim right there. Sets a high bar.
It absolutely does. And that really anchors its initial reputation.
But then, as you read on in Boericke, the list just kind of explodes, even just within the female system. It's not only tumors.
No, not at all.
You see things like indurated cervix, which is like a hardening, right?
Yes, essentially. And chronic metritis and prolapses. So long-term inflammation and the uterus shifting out of place.
And there's even this description. It's quite dramatic. Uterus fills up whole pelvis.
That is striking.
Yeah.
And it continues, with quite specific things like ulceration of neck of womb and vagina.
Okay.
And then ovarian dropsy, that would be fluid buildup in the ovaries, and subinvolution, where the uterus doesn't shrink back properly after birth.
It's incredibly detailed. And then there's ossified uterus. That sounds like calcification.
It does suggest that, yes. A hardening like bone. The level of detail is fascinating, makes you think about how they were diagnosing these things.
So clearly, a massive focus on the female reproductive system. But then the really surprising part for me is where else Boericke says the same substance was used. It seems to pop up everywhere.
It really goes branch out.
Like it's listed for high blood pressure due to disturbed function of nervous mechanism. That seems quite different.
Very different. And also for arteriosclerosis, hardening of the arteries.
So cardiovascular and nervous system links now.
Right. And then you see systemic issues too, like syphilitic ataxia and psoriasis syphilitica, conditions often linked to syphilis, showing its use in chronic body-wide problems.
Okay, so we've gone from uterine tumors to syphilis-related conditions.
And it gets even more specific and localized, things like a periosteel, swelling on lower jaw.
On the jaw, okay.
And swelling a testicle. So male reproductive system too, apparently. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How do they connect all these dots back to one remedy?
It really does. And the list keeps going. Boericke mentions tongue burning, stitches, and induration, so mouth issues.
Mm-hmm. And major internal organs as well. Hepatic cirrhosis, that's the liver, and interstitial nephritis, which is a kidney issue.
Liver, kidneys, tongue, jaw, tests, blood pressure, all from sodium chlorate. The scope is just remarkable.
It truly is. And Boericke even notes the typical preparation, the dose. Second and third trituration.
Trituration. That's the homeopathic method of like grinding and diluting, often with lactose, right? For substances that don't dissolve easily.
Precisely. So it also points to a very specific way of preparing and thinking about these substances, quite different from how we might approach pharmacology today.
So recapping this dive, we've seen sodium chlorate presented with this incredibly strong focus on the female reproductive system. We're talking uterine tumors, inflammation, displacement, ovarian issues, even ossification.
A huge focus there, definitely. But then this surprising versatility, branching out into high blood pressure, hardening of the arteries.
Systemic things linked to syphilis, and then these really specific complaints affecting the jaw, the testes, liver, kidneys, even the tongue.
Exactly. All documented uses for this one substance, prepared in a specific way, the second and third trituration. It paints a picture of a very holistic yet also very granular approach to medicine at the time.
It's a fascinating window into the past, really. So maybe a final thought for you listening. When you see how broadly just one substance, like the sodium chlorate, was believed to affect so many different specific conditions, what does that suggest to you about how they understood the body, disease, and maybe the art of choosing a remedy back then?
Definitely something to mull over.